So today I was thinking about how people deal with stress and how our lack of understanding how people deal with stress can be degradative, degradative, um, if that's a word, degradative. um, yeah, it's a fascinating phenomenon how people, deal with stress. There is some natural or some biological angst I have when it comes to stress, but I find that it never quite manifests itself physically. Like I don't have a vice, I don't drink or smoke, I don't have like a sex addiction. Um, I don't look for people to uh, like console me or anything like that because I guess I have this murky faith that things will always work out. You know what I mean? Like I always think about. I was talking to my homie, my mother, like about a situation I'm going through, and I was like, man, I'm just thinking about. Although I was stressed out about it, now I'm just thinking about like, man, next year this is gonna be um, just something I won't even think about. It's like it'll be something else I'll be uh, vexed about. You know what I mean? And it's important to project your psyche into far into the future as possible. You know what I mean? Like they say, when you look too far ahead, you'll be anxious. When you look too far back, you'll be depressed. But when you're in the present, um, you'll be a little bit more still. And I don't know how that actually um, pervades itself physically, but I know for me, like I said, I don't have any I don't have any obvious uh, angst. Like my angst doesn't come out in these obvious ways where I'm like, oh man, crying and shit like that, you know. But that's me. So for me, I think it's important to, um, and I might forget this sometimes, but I think it's important for other people to understand how other people deal with distress. You know what I mean? And it's much deeper than just saying, well, everybody's different. Well, everybody says that everybody's different until it's time, until they actually uh, show themselves to be different, until their stress is manifest in ways that are different from yours. You know what I mean? So I think we're 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 just caught up in just constant projection, like projection and a psychological projection, meaning we just expect, we do things and expect people to be the same way, to put it simply, And I think, what if we thought reversely? What if we, as a matter of fact, what if we didn't think at all? You know, like would we just accept people the way they are, how they react to things? Um, would we accept that even if we knew how to? You know, who knows? All I know is that it's something that you need to practice. You know, what I mean, you have to work on your own angst, your own privilege. We all have this privilege, the privilege of possession. We always want. We always want to be the first one to go through the light, first one to go through the intersection, first one to have this, or just be the one to have it. Not thinking about the fact that we most likely will have it. Like, you know what I mean? You wait at a stop sign long enough, you're gonna go. And by the end of the day, you won't even think about it anymore. So I think it's important to put yourself in situations, out of the situations you're in. And I had practiced that for a long time, so I think at some point it just became second nature. So a lot of the times I just try to talk myself out of the angst, not so much the stress, because I think after the first or second day, I'm over it. whatever the problem is. I'm not over it, but I'm not anxious about it anymore. But that doesn't mean that I'm gonna talk somebody into being like me. Tell them to be stoic, because that might not work for people. That's an important skill to have. Like, it's an important skill to have, to not bogart people with us. You know what I mean? Like how we deal with situations and shit like that. I think that's important to, you know, to, I think that's important to, it's an important trait. It's an important trait to have. So, I guess this is one of my simple messages, but you know, you just have to allow people to excrete themselves, you know what I mean? Or when I mean excrete, I just mean to kind of shit out their own person, their own personality, proverbially speaking. You have to allow people to take a shit, you know, and not say, well, you got a shit like me, you know. Not only say it, but think it. Why can't you be more like this? How often we find ourselves saying that? Why can't you just wait? Why can't you just do that in the third? And I think those questions are important. But the first question you should ask, or I like to ask, is why do you think you're responding to the situation like you are? You know, or how do you normally respond to stress, to angst, to loss, things like that, or to the knowledge of knowing something will be lost? How do you respond to acts of selflessness? You know, where you're forced to be selfless. As I talked about with the lights, the intersections, it's 4 cars come to a stoplight. Everybody wants to go at the same time, but if everybody goes at the same time, then people might be asking, well, how does selflessness correlate with understanding people's behavior? Well, simple, you know. It's a selfless act to step back and understand people's behavior, you know. Not just understand it, but allow them to take a shit. You dig? Proverbially, allow people's personality to come out of them. Allow them to excrete their reactions, and you know. And it might, just thinking about it now, it seems a bit contradictory to say allow somebody to do that, you know, because it means that they're not being selfless either. But I think if most people did that, we just would have a much better collective understanding of ourselves, and that's very important. So, you know, I made this video because, like I said, I'm dealing with some high stress situations right now, and I'm still privileged, though, you know. And the way I'm just responding to it is, you know, I'm just thinking about how to solve it, and understand that sacrifice has to be made. But that's me. I understand myself. My my plight is that hopefully other people will understand that this is how I respond to stress, stoically, you know. I don't know why, but that's just the way it is. But if somebody else responded a different way, you gotta let them shit. You dig? Peace.